Hey everybody, Dr. Nelson here. This is a video where you're going to learn how to solve radical equations. So just a real quick reminder about how to solve equations. Let's say, for example, we have a basic one, like say 2x equals 6. Well, to get the x by itself, we want to do the inverse operations for multiplication, which is divide. So we're going to divide both sides by 2, and so we end up with x equals 3. Okay? So, but let's say we have a little more advanced one. Let's say if we have, say, the square root of x equals 5. Okay? Now, to get this square root sign, to get rid of it, what you have to do is you have to square it. Okay? So, again, what you do to one side, you do to the other side. So, when I square the square root of x, all right, we get x. And then 5 squared is 25. So again, if I plug in a 25 into the square root sign, the square root of 25 is 5. So let's take a look at this problem here. Here we have the square root of 5x plus 1 minus 6 equals 0. So the first step is we want to try to get this square root sign by itself. So I'm going to add 6 to both sides. So that gives us now the square root of 5x plus 1 equals 6. Okay? And now, to get rid of the square root sign, we need to square both sides. So that will now give us 5x plus 1 equals 36. And now we're just solving a two-step equation. So I'm going to take away 1 from both sides. And we end up with 5x equals 35. And then divide both sides by 5. And we end up with x equals 7. And there's our solution, but let's check. Let's make sure it works. So if I plug in 7 here, 5 times 7 is 35. 35 plus 1 is 36. Well, the square root of 36 is 6. And 6 take away 6 take away 6 is 0. And bingo, there it is. All right, let's try one that's a little more advanced. If you turn the page, let's take a look at this one. All right, so here we have the square root of x minus 4 equals 4 minus x. Okay, so the first step for this one is we need to square both sides. And that 4 minus x, when we square it, okay, we have to use FOIL. So really what this is going to be is it's going to be 4 minus x times 4 minus x. And when we square the other side, we're just going to end up with x minus 4. All right, so it's going to be x minus 4 equals, now when I do FOIL, 4 times 4 is 16. We're going to have a negative 4x, and then another negative 4x, and then negative x times negative x gives us a positive x squared. So let's kind of clean this up a little bit. So we have x minus 4 equals, I'm going to change the order a little bit too. It's going to be x squared, and then negative 4x and negative 4x is minus 8x plus 16. So this right here is a game changer. So this is going to be a quadratic, right? So remember, the way you solve quadratics is you want to have the equation equal 0. So I'm going to take away x from both sides. So that now gives us negative 4 equals x squared minus 9x plus 16. And then I'm going to add 4 to both sides. So add 4 and add 4. So now when I do that, I'm going to write over here, we're going to have x squared minus 9x plus 20 equals 0. All right? And now, next thing that we have to do is we have to factor x squared minus 9x plus 20. So I'm going to use reverse FOIL for that one. So it's going to be an x and an x. And then let's see, what times what gives us positive 20, but adds up to negative 9. So that's going to be a minus of 5 and a minus 4. And then remember, you take each factor and you have it equal 0. So it's going to be x minus 5 equals 0. And then also x minus 4 equals 0. And then you solve for x. So I'm going to add 5 to both sides. And we end up with x equals 5. That's one solution. And then I'm going to add 4 here to both sides. and we end up with x equals 4. So these type of problems take a lot of work and a lot of steps. You really got to be careful. All it takes is one error and the whole thing's going to be wrong. All right? So now that you understand how to solve radical equations, why don't you pause the video and try the your turn problem now, and then when you're done, hit play and you can see how you did. All right, take your time and good luck. All right, welcome back. Let's say I do with these practice problems, okay? So to save time, I've already done all the steps. So the first one was the square root of x minus 4 equals 7. So I squared both sides, and when I did that, that got rid of the square root sign. So we have x minus 4 equals 49. And then I added 4 to both sides, and 49 plus 4 gives us a 53. And again, if I take that 53, I plug it in. 53 take away 4 is 49, and square root of 49 is 7. All right, the second one obviously has a lot more steps to it. Okay, so step number 1, you square root both sides. And then when you do that, you end up with 50 plus 7x equals x squared plus 16x plus 64. And then it's just a matter of solving the quadratic. And we had to make sure that this equation equals 0. So when I did that, we ended up with 0 equals x squared plus 9x plus 14. And then to solve the quadratic, you have to have this expression equals 0. And you have to factor, right? So when you factor, I got x plus 7 times x plus 2, which means the solution for this one was negative 7 and negative 2. All right? So again, if you got this problem wrong, go through the steps and see where you made a mistake. But overall, hopefully you did well. All right? How'd you do?